Alright. Let's hope that the Wi-Fi actually stays connected. Alright. Excellent connection so far. I'm barely trusting this as is. Yeah, I need to do something about the RAM, cause that shit ain't good. Going between yellow and red. Yep, kinda figured. Okay, settings, output, stream. Well, that's where it's supposed to be. Alright. Getting that down, get the game up. Gotta let this go for about till 12:05. And then start playing the game. I need to get new RAM. Because 630, okay. 2,000 or 3,000 kilobytes a second, that's looking better. That number's probably going to go down a lot though. Alright. Oh, yep, there it goes. It's red. Yep. Alright. What's it going to be that it's both streaming and recording at the same time, rather than just streaming? Or is it actually the RAM? I have no idea at this point. Oh well, I get paid this Friday, so we'll be able to afford something. Some new RAM. After getting the desk here paid off. I actually decided to fill all 4 RAM channels. There you go. Is there anyone out there right now possibly watching the stream or just now joining? Alright. Okay, coming up. Here. Thank you. Okay. I do not need to be getting copyright strikes right now. Or claimed or whatever. Okay. Alright. There you go. In about 1 minute we're going to start the gameplay. I don't know how long this is going to last, but if all goes well, this should just be 1 4-hour stream, not 2 however many minutes long stream. Okay, yeah, just gotta skip that there. Alright. Anyhow, welcome to the newest version, I should say, of the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Yeah. I already done the setup, so just gonna hit begin the game. Let's see. The end is never the end, huh?
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh yeah, I'm going to start the gameplay as would normally with
When
the story.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Oh my god. Okay.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Yeah, hey, has Stanley ever thought that maybe it's a weekend and people don't work weekends? Loading, huh?
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Stanley might not, but I do.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Looking for number 3 now. Number three, where is number 3? That's fine. Okay. Number 3. I believe it's number 4 up there. Console disabled. Forward to...
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for. Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Story of someone freeing themselves from a boring job, huh? Alright, cool. The end is never the end.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Alright, doing everything that I just did except going
When
to
Stanley
escape
came
whenever
to
it
a
comes
set
to
of
the
two
mind
open
control
doors, he entered the door on his
Actually, no.
left.
Okay.
Yet there was
Everything
not
by
a
hitting
single
the
person
on
here
button.
either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Alright, loading.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large
You'll
door
be
that
soon,
read
don't worry.
Mind Control Facility.
Gotta go through all of this stuff again, except hitting on the last thing.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers.
Looks like
The lives
427
of
for
so many
pirates.
individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Huh.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Alright.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they
Except
kept
I
you
did.
enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself? Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock right now. These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless, to see you made humble. This is not a challenge, it's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to strike. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever up.
Alright. So there was that. The end is never the end.
All of his co-workers were
doing
gone.
everything
What could it
except
mean?
all the
Stanley decided to go
except
to the
going
meeting
over to
room.
escape.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
New content? No, not yet. Not yet.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Not surprising, no one here yet. 2854.
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was too much for Stanley to take. Too much for any man to take. He fell to his knees, bursting into half moans, half sobs, the guttural retching of life from a man denied any hope, any reason to keep going. Here on the floor he lay prone, paralyzed by fear for nearly a full hour. But when at last he began to move about and survey the situation, he found a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could it mean? Was it a sign of hope for Stanley's future? Alas, it was not. For although this keypad guarded the terrible secret of Stanley's past, it had been assigned a 4-digit code so devious and so random that no man could ever hope to guess it. 2845. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Escape ending, here I come.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
You know, I feel like this
At
could
this
have
point,
been
Stanley was making
a
a conscious, concerted effort to
D&D
walk forward
campaign.
and willingly confront his death. As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Alright. Written and designed by Davey Radin and William Pugh. Developed by Crows. Let's see here. Kevin Brighting as the narrator. No Mr. Bacon or something? Alright. Alright. So this is sort of the content area. Alright. Okay, so Stanley's desk area starting right here. Going through that hole here. Alright. Yes. Let's see here. I think after this room it was supposed to turn into two. Oh, wait, nope. Alright, so the simple office layout is where we start. It's when we get, well, it's once we get to these two areas that we're starting giving choices. Instead of the two open doors was the very first concrete piece of the Stanley Parable's design. Once this room was created, the rest of the game emerged as an extension of it, an exploration of the contradiction this room posed. Huh. Alright. Maintenance room, an early version of the maintenance room. Huh, alright. Alright. And at this point I'm just trying to do some Ultra Deluxe announcements. In December 2018, we announced the Ultra Deluxe version of the Stanley Parable at the Game Awards. These are the screenshots of the videos we made for the announcements and the game's delay. Alright. Makes sense, makes sense. Alright. Some more of that office stuff. The lounge, an early version of the lounge, which I've yet to see. The apartment timer. In a previous version of the choice leading to the apartment ending, a timer would give you 15 seconds to pick up the phone. Not picking up the phone would lead to a different ending. Alright. Cargo lift. The second version is functionally the same as what's in the final game, but we wanted it to look more like a place where cargo is actually stored. Are you sure about that? The cargo lift. The cargo lift was always intended to offer the choice of staying on or jumping to a different path. However, after this early version, we decided we also wanted the option of the player falling to their death. That I can see. A lot of OSHA violations right there. Narrator emails. After the second trailer we sent out, we asked people to email the narrator for questions. While we had initially planned to use these for the promotional materials, we never found the perfect use for them. Here are a selection of those emails. From Montgomery Jones, the lights. What do the lights in the control room do? I really want to know. Anthony Elias. Proposition 12:20 a.m. Partner. I am Anthony Elias, business broker. Please partner with me in a very... Nope. Alright. Hi, Mr. Narrator Guy. I have a question for you, sir. And it is, what is your message for today? Sincerely, Harris. Alright. Anyhow. Game design mockup. This is the level that William, the level designer, sent Davey, the writer, as a kind of audition piece. The strength of this level got William hired to design the full game. Though much of the environment has changed, the basic layout from this mockup is still in the game. Alright. Makes sense. Let's hear monitor room elevator. For a time, the elevator in the monitor room could go up or down, with freedom above and countdown below. We abandoned this when players found it too difficult to remember what was up and what was down, and placed the two endings together instead. Okay. Countdown room. An early version of the countdown room. Alright, makes sense. The freedom ending. This is the freedom ending as it existed in beta. Huh. countdown desk. Alright. For a time, the elevator in the monitor room could go up or down with freedom above and countdown below. Alright, 72. Alright. We abandoned this when players found it too difficult to remember what was up and what was down and placed the two endings together instead. Alright. Oh, this looks like an early version of the office. Nope, Zending model. The Zending went through many iterations. This room represents the 4th version of the ending, and we thought it was complete, but decided to abandon and change it again shortly before launch. Escape menu. For a long time, we had an ending that only ended when the player restarted from the escape menu. Unfortunately, very few players realized this was what they were supposed to do, which was frustrating for everyone. Oh yeah. Zending. This screenshot depicts an early version of the ending known as Zending, which was eventually cut and merged with another part of the game. Alright. But all in all, this really does give Aperture Science vibes. Let's see. Zending levers. These levers were originally part of the Zending. The player would pull a lever and the narrator would describe what color they had pulled. Trailers. We ran 4 major teaser trailers over the course of the game's development, each meant to convey something about the spirit of the game. This is the first one, released in May 2012. It features a series of broken rooms and the voice of the narrator, informing viewers that he is repairing a new version of the Stanley Parable. Alright. Number 1, one option. Okay, 1 doorway to maintenance in the lounge. Number 2, 2 options. Alright, let's see. So the other entrance will be hidden depending on how you entered. Alright, so the confusion ending makes sense. Let's see. Number 3, 1 option, 1 doorway to maintenance in the lounge and the original back on track option. Number 4, vent. What about this? Oh well. There's your maintenance layout. The flow of hallways following the first 2 doors was important to get right, since players will replay them so many times. We discussed a number of designs, but ultimately it was the simplest version that won out. So, let's see here. Option number 1, I want to say. Stuff for the meeting room. Okay. Oh yeah, the different iterations of Stanley's desks. Or office, I should say. Stanley's office. From left to right, the evolution of Stanley's office over time. The first was created in November 2011, the second of March 2012, and the third of November, February 2013. Wait, did I say November, February? God damn it. Okay. Let's see here. The world's something boss. Alright, well, alright, makes sense. Let's see here. Went through there. Let's see here. Freedom ending. This was the very first incarnation of the freedom ending in the game's alpha. Alright. Let's see here. The boss's office. Screens for the development of the boss's office. Alright. Office clock showing the time. I want to say. I almost want to. Let's see. I know I had to put in the actual time whenever I had started the setup on the game. So let's see here. 12:40. Does not quite look like it there, but could very well be wrong. see here, the lounge, underground, an early version of the underground portion of the game. Huh.
Stanley stood on the snow. Stanley
Oh,
jumped in the
shit. Alright, narration
Stanley pushed
outtake.
the big red button.
Outtakes. Kevin writing the voice of the narrator recorded dialogue for the entire game roughly 3 separate times over the 2 years of development. These are
Where were
these
all
are
his
clips from
co-workers?
early takes that were not
Oh,
used
I don't
in
know.
the
How about
game.
they're throwing a surprise party for him for all his button pushing? Does that sound plausible? Now look closely, Stanley. See how it's impossible for the player to do anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna get out before he becomes a voice in my head. Alright, I think at this point I've actually been everywhere around here, so going to the ending here.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose.
Alright. Just gonna have that ending there. Alright. I think this time I'm just gonna
All of his
choose the
co-workers were
disobey
gone.
area
What could it mean?
for the confusion.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Completely ignoring the new content door.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Mainly for the confusion ending.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
I saw a big red button.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
Alright.
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Finally! I've broken a
So it's
narrator!
down, right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Ooh, big vehicle. Can't drive it though.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Gotta continue choosing disobedience.
When Stanley... Wait, what?
Oh!
No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, Did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors?
I
Did you
couldn't.
move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then.
Oh, the narrator
It's
has
an
definitely got
adventure.
some flavor
Come,
of
Stanley.
urgency.
Let's find the story.
Oh no, we're in the back rooms. Inner guilt. Everyone knows what you did. You're just holding back to let you torture yourself. Ooh, ow. Is this the
I'll
same
say
one?
it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Alright.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
No door labeled new content. Okay.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Four B3, huh? Alright. Let's see here. Is that clock accurate? I don't think so. Let's see here. Metahand's at 20. Let's saying 11. Why is it saying 11:20 when it's like almost 1 o'clock in the morning? Huh.
Aha! I knew we'd missed something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps. Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time, I have to restart. All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Nyom. 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 Nyom.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Oh no, here comes copyright complaints.
Wait, cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything. Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Oh, wait, no. It's a bit different. It's a bit different.
Oh, no, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you...
Employee
I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart. You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction? Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild.
Oh, no.
Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Just as long as we don't no-clip into the back rooms.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits. Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait, you know. I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree?
Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
You know what? New content.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
The end is never the end.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers.
As a DLC.
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Yeah, this is probably the area that Crows wrote.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Okay.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive.
Don't
It's
worry,
just
it's
elevators and jumping.
Hopefully it'll get better.
Is this what passes for exciting new content?
Well, if
this
you're
is
talking
new
about
content,
updates, then
then I
yeah.
could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Thank you for enjoying the new content.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Oh, look at that. It's already getting to the apartment ending. Okay.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Event ending. Okay.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Oh, fuck. It's not a Souls game, is it?
I call it the Memory Zone.
Oh, thank
It's
God.
where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity.
That's
Back then,
what?
it all meant something.
$5?
Oh, the waste.
It looks to be in one of the Slavic languages. Nothing really wrong there, but... Okay, National Geographic, yada 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 time. Let's see here, that time there would be saying 150. Alright. You say solid with a cheap re-release. What the hell is the collector's edition? Huh? Okay, that I can understand having there. Okay, why the hell is 035 on here? Why? Why? British Academy of Film and Television Arts awarded to Stanley Parable, The Last of Us in the category Story. But why the hell does it look like 035? Alright, let's see here. That's saying it's 813. The original remake. Let's see here. Stanley Parable is an exploration of story, games, and choices. Except the story doesn't matter. It might not even be a game, and if you ever actually do have a choice, well, let me know how you did it. Let's see here. Oh my God. If that is not Windows Vista, I do not know what is. Trip down memory lane, huh? The first dollar made off the game, huh? Stanley Parable demonstration, huh? Unachievable. It is impossible to get this achievement. How much do you want to bet there was tryhards that actually got this achievement? Go outside. Don't play for 5 years. There is bound to be someone that did that. In the most literal sense possible, playing every other game that they had on their list for 5 years, but that one, but Stanley Parable. Let's see here, British Academy of Film and Television Arts nominees, Stanley Parable, Game Innovation. Let's see here, nominees, Stanley Parable, nominee, yada yada. New video game releasing today for the New York Times. October 17th, 2013. The New York Times would not care about new video games. New books, maybe, but not new video games. I don't think. LA Times. Stanley Parable deals tough choices. June 7th, 2013.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created. Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Not gonna quite go there yet. You are playing the Stanley Parable. Yeah, I was noticing on the screen that it would be the game inside of the game, inside of the game, inside of the game. You know, gameception. So, yeah. Oh, look at that. Actual devlog. Well, an actual screenshot of the development of the game. Okay. Let's see here. I want to say it's still more Windows Vista. Which honestly, for the
Here's
time...
another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
The end is not...
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again.
Ooh, the Sirius room. Okay. That was actually for those that would go into the command prompt thing for inside the game and try to cheat their way out. Or something else, I'm not so sure.
Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
You don't know Steam Online well, do you, narrator?
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
See, this is why you don't deal with Steam Online. Steam is only... Well, the way that we treat Steam Online is not good.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Oh dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure, like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button.
Ow.
Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people, and if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so
It's
on and
a
so
loop.
forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your Greek gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made, in fact, make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once. That you are both making choices and not making choices, and that they are both affecting you and not affecting you at the same time by virtue of the fact that you both are and are not making them. Okay, at first, I was leaning towards manifesto, but now I'm going to circle around and slap the treatise label on this one. I think it has much more of a treatise vibe to it. But wouldn't you say that manifesto just has a much grander sort of tone? It has a mouthfeel that is rich with ambition and history. Ambitious history, if you will. See, now you've gotten me going back to manifesto. Heavens, at this rate, we're going to be here all day. Okay, look, I have a method for exactly this sort of situation, and I do find myself in this situation frequently. I'm going to say each word back and forth in repeated succession until I become sick of one or the other, in which case the word I am not sick of shall be the victor. It is an unimpeachable strategy, Stanley. It's rescued me from disaster in countless situations. If I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review, merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change